started with games. Simple things. Pixels, buttons, a bit of fun. Then, somewhere along the way, the big platforms moved in. Last year, $200 billion flowed upwards, away from the people who actually play. This year, they take it back. YOM, where players play games straight from your PC, not a data center in Virginia. Meet Tyler Pemberton. Yes, this looks dramatic, but he's perfectly fine. Tyler's offline. His PC isn't. 47 players streaming from his GPU right now. Even AFK, Tyler's rig is pulling its weight. He's making money in his sleep. Maybe this is what happens when gamers finally take control of their own world. Turn your idle GPU into passive income. YOM.net. Eat, sleep, earn, repeat.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. So we've got some stuff to talk about today. How is everyone doing? It is summertime, and much is going on around the YOM company and the community. We've got a lot going on at the studio. Obviously, you guys have seen much of what's going on inside the chats. But we do a broadcast on Wednesday nights and on Saturday and on Fridays also. This Friday, before I bury it, I want to make sure I get it out there. Glory, our marketing manager, is going to be back on. He wants to talk a lot to the community about the season 2 and going forward, all those questions and the way we run that system. Because there's been some questions inside the community. We want to make sure we address them all. So Glory's he's agreed to come on Friday, and we'll spend about an hour talking about the way that the system is set up and some of the things that we learned from the first season and how we applied those lessons learned to the second season and going forward. So that's exciting. And again, if you tuned in a couple weeks ago, we had Glory on for about half an hour. He has dived in with he's got like 2 hands deep into this stuff. He's really taking hold of some of the important pieces of the community stuff, and we appreciate him being part of the broadcast on Friday. For today, let's start off where we always start off. If you don't know who we are, by the way, YOM is a decentralized cloud gaming network. We build technology, the infrastructure that allows game studios and publishers to stream their content on our network, on our decentralized network, and learning more and more that it's the network that we've built. Obviously, because we're right there on the final location, it's the fastest network out there. But it won't only just be for games. We've seen in other instances where AI and other kinds of on-the-edge compute is so important. GPU on the edge is becoming that resource. What we're doing is building a system that allows those people who have a gaming rig in their homes that sits idle for most of the day. They can tap into that. They can become a contributing member of that marketplace. They can actually get paid for the GPU cycles that they're not using. And by putting their computer on our network, we help people kind of earn money as passive income from their unused GPU cycles. Everyone's seen it already, and I could go on about it forever. But AI and all these other robotics, all those needs for computing at the edge, it's only increasing. And your GPU, people don't recognize. They bought a gaming machine to play games, but what they really got now is a money generating machine in their homes that they're not using. It's just like having it's like having a car that you don't ever. It's actually easier than Uber, right? Because you don't have to go anywhere. All you're doing is turn your machine on and put it on our network. It's so much simpler. Anyways, how we usually start these podcasts is I go and show everybody. So we have a mascot named Walter. Everybody knows who he is. Walter is a rust-colored gorilla who wears a white T-shirt that says YOM, blue jeans, and he has round blue tinted sunglasses. And we ask our community members to post their own AI generated images of Walter doing things and promoting our mascot and promoting our technology. So Ruhan0164 put out this one. Great concept. A nice one. I appreciate the work here. Like that a lot. Bear Fafa 94. This is a great picture of Walter like going to battle. And again, man, this is such a nice rendering. And the point is again that we're built strong. We're built for gamers. So a big part of our ethos is that we're empowering gamers who have a machine at home to earn passive income. It's a huge deal. So yeah, we're going to battle to change the way the games are distributed, and Walter's part of that. But I think my winner for the week is, for Wednesday, not the whole week, Domi 12E. This picture, he looks sharp. Walter looking sharp, and again, talking about the decentralized global network. It's a thing we talk about. The cloud gaming networks that are available right now, they're all centralized. They're all coming from a massive data center. The GPU cycles that the gaming publishers are paying for from those data centers is 20 times more expensive. It's much more expensive to host on that centralized server. So many of the players in the marketplace don't do it there. And then the gamers themselves are frustrated. You go to GeForce Now on a Friday evening and you're waiting in a queue. Sometimes you're waiting behind like 300 people to get rent a machine. And I'm actually seeing here recently people who are going on, when it's not so crowded, they're dropping out immediately if they don't get hooked up to a 5090, right? They're trying to land the 5090 machines, so they get paired to a 4070. If they're finding that the game they can't optimize all the settings, so they just leave and come back. It's cranking the numbers, but I'm sure it's stressing out GeForce Now systems. The idea of being decentralized makes it we don't have to worry about those kinds of switches fast back and forth. Anyways, appreciate it, Domi 12. Let's get into some of the content. So, as I say, what I generally do on Wednesday nights is I go through some industry news, things that are passed across my my plate or come up with some of my alerts. I look at some of what the industry is doing, and then I pair it to what we're building at YOM and show people where the connections are, and the people in our community, people in our studio too, get to see for the first time sometimes some of these things that are digging up. All of it seems to be supporting the mission that we're on. So there were two articles that came up almost simultaneously, and they both talked about how to set up remote play. So PlayStation, the PS remote play setup, right? This is an article that kind of explains to you in 12 simple steps how to set up PlayStation remote streams. And their goal, Sony's goal is the same as our goal, right? You have a game, you don't want to be tied to, you can only play it, in front of your TV set. You want to be able to take it mobile. You want to be able to reach it anywhere. So Sony remote play is a good concept, but again, you're kind of locked into, you have to have the PlayStation, you have to spend the $500 to get the home system before any of it kind of broadcasts to your computer or to your phone or anything like that. So again, kind of it's still it can be prohibitive for play, right? It still prevents those people who can't afford the console to play, but the goal is correct. You want to be able to play anywhere you are. Ubisoft Connect had it's a platform that to get your Ubisoft games, but again, 12 steps to install the launcher and set up your account and all those things. So there's many steps to get into your Ubisoft account to play your Ubisoft games. Again, 12 steps is just seems like when it was funny because they kind of came up together in my feed. What we're talking about with YOM is there's one step, right? You click on the link and you're starting to play. Depending on the game, you might have to set up an account for that game. Or you might access it depending on the platform that we're streaming through. You might have to reach into your Steam account. But honestly, the goal of all this is players should be able to play their games that they own or the games that they want to play without having to be locked into owning the expensive hardware or doing a massive install on a local machine. But the cloud gaming hope is that people will be able to play their games on a low-end laptop or on their phone, these high-powered AAA quality games. But if you're locked into a platform service that requires you still to pay some or to have the big heavy hardware like the PlayStation, you're going to be prohibited to play. And all that kind of piggybacked into the Steam Machine launch. So the Steam Machine launch came. They published all their data as it's a wait list that they're opening up. But their minimum machine is $1,000. It's still super cost prohibitive. Now, in their defense, the cost of RAM has gone crazy, the cost of GPUs have gone crazy, so they had to bring up their price. But with the expenses that are kind of coming up, all these different places in the world, we're looking for. Let me do this here so you can see me a little bit better. Yeah, we know that there's a better way to do this, right? We don't want people to have the high expensive hardware. If they are locked into expensive hardware, the gaming industry itself is going to stagnate or even kind of fall apart. We need to reach out to players who can't afford the hardware, but still give them access to AAA quality games. And a decentralized cloud gaming network, the type of that we've built with YOM, is really the solution that does this on at an inexpensive level and a much more scalable level, and again, at low latency to all the players who are playing. So those those 3 articles just came right across, and they all kind of spoke of the same story, and that's what I wanted to make sure I put out today. Not 12 steps. 12 steps is just too many. It's too much friction. And you want to onboard players, you want them to have as few steps as possible, including, again, as we've done, having the link inside of or having the game stream right inside of Discord, or have the game stream right inside of Telegram. Those are the kinds of access that we have. Again, if you're not familiar with the YOM system, what we're talking about is streaming a game with the same ease that a YouTube video is embedded on a URL or embedded inside a Discord or sent around. Instead of having that be a one-way video stream coming from our network, it's a two-way interactive stream at extreme low latency, because again, we're finding the node closest to the player and making that one-to-one connection to them. So solving problems all over the place is really what it comes down to. I mean, I like the Steam Machine. To look at it, I'm pretty excited by it. If I had an extra $1,000 to drop, which of course I don't, I might consider going ahead and dropping it on something like this. I think they did a decent job. 6x6 cube, not so invasive. I like that they made the front plate, changeable, so you can kind of fit the decor of your room. But at the same time, $1,000 is a lot of money to drop on a home system. Now they say again that they're not a console, because you can treat it like a PC. But right now I think it's running on AMD chips, so not NVIDIA. But if you haven't checked out the Steam Machine, and if you think you want something you might want to get into, there's all the information. But again, you're dropping $1,000 just to play some games. The other thing I want to touch on today, another article came across my feed that it was very interested in. It was about DRM, digital right management, and if you're not familiar, but you're a PC gamer, maybe you are familiar. When game publishers and developers develop their game, there's now a layer of security added to every game that gets shipped out, because piracy was a huge thing, right? But where games were getting released, and almost immediately they were getting pirated. So digital right management systems like Denuvo, I'm gonna say the name wrong. Denuvo. Here, let me bring up an article so I can show you what I'm talking about. This is the article that came across my feed. It is from Cale Hunt. I'm Cale. I'm gonna use some of your data. I hope you don't mind. So, talking about digital right management systems like Denuvo, where the game itself is pinging all the time while you're playing. It's pinging. You download, you install the games, but the game's constantly checking to make sure that you've got a legal copy of the game. It's constantly sending signals back and forth, and that can degrade the performance of the game depending on the system that you're running on and how they've implemented it. It's hefty, right? But this is done again to cut down on piracy. Piracy it's a pretty big deal. I mean, Cale's got the numbers from that report that came out back in 2024 that games that were pirated in the first week, they lost like 20% of their revenue. It's a massive hit, and if they can delay it by 6 weeks or so, the revenue only drops 5%. Really, digital rights management is doing its job. Basically, is the whole long and short of it. It is cutting down on the loss of revenue to all those publishers who are using it. But again, every player is still having to deal with that lag, and it's an expense that the game publishers are putting in to have to install a service and then pay for the service, like Denuvo. So I want to talk about what we do at YOM is different from software DRM. So our security system is different, right? We don't actually need the game publishers to put in any kind of software into the game to secure the rights. What we have is a hardware solution. So the games that are stored on our network, they're stored on the nano devices. Those nanos are encrypted. so that there's no way to break into the game files. The game files are not put on local machines. They're put on our nano devices, and those nano devices are locked. They're encrypted. So the game data is all secured that way. And that, again, on top of all the other savings for speed and performance done by using the closest node to the player, no matter where they are in the world, it pairs up to the closest node. Beyond that, we're not having the software doesn't have to be bloated with a system check or security check that goes back to their game servers all the time and constantly checking to make sure you have a legal copy, because the legal copy exists on our network. So Kale has a concern that means with cloud gaming, that means that you're not going to own anything, that you won't own the games anymore. That's also true with our system. It's true. But what we're saying is you do own something. You own those people who have the gaming PCs who are putting in our network. You own a piece of the network, right? You own your hardware that you own is earning you money. So there's still value in ownership. I think I agree with Kale in that ownership is very important. And the idea that you're going to rent your entire life is just crazy town. We want to try to get away from that. And that includes renting space on a centralized server to do your AI or to do your gaming. And it also includes, or it just leads to, the system that you have at home, which is very valuable. And people don't recognize just how valuable their unused GPU cycles are. Having a network where you can sell those GPU cycles is, again, a great boon for people who are playing games and better for the gaming industry, right? The idea that we now can drop the friction for ease of gameplay, not 12 steps, but just hit the website and you're starting to play the game, or just hit the link inside the Discord and you're playing the game. That is really what the goal of what we're producing here at YOM. So glad to have everybody on board. I'm looking to see if there's any chat. I don't see any kind of questions so far. It's probably a good thing, because on Friday, when we have Glory, our marketing manager, in the call with us, it's a great time to load us up with questions, ask questions about the quest that you're running, ask questions about season 1 and season 2, ask questions obviously about the technology that we're building, and our goals to release. The nano devices are still on track to be shipped by the end of this month. That hasn't changed. So those the people, we got the network up and running, but the next set, which expands the network, now that the token is live, this next set is going to go out by the end of this month, and that's going to pretty much double the capacity of the network. So you're going to see even more improvements going into July. So very exciting. Again, very exciting time for us. Glad to have everybody on board. If there's anything that I missed, please go ahead and drop it into our Discord. If you're curious, and I keep on forgetting to do this, but if you're curious about, I've been talking about how your GPU can earn you passive income, but you haven't run the rig check yet, go to app.yom.net/rig check. And run this test on your computer. It'll give you an estimate anyways about how much your income could be as you host games on your rig when you're not using it with our nano device. So best place to start is right there, app.yom.net/rig check. And for everything else about YOM, just go to yom.net. Short broadcast today, although I hope there's a lot of information that's useful to everybody. The idea of 12 steps is crazy. The Steam machine pricing is, again, I think crazy, but not unrealistic. Again, you're going to see that with the PlayStation 6 when it comes out. It's going to be a hefty price tag on that thing as well, because of the prices of RAM and GPUs. So I did that really fast. Maybe I just talked too fast. Very good. All right. So a couple things. Be good to yourself. Be good to other people. Drink lots of water. Tell someone you love them. And tune in on Friday. We're going to have Glory here, and we'll talk more about our community. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon. Cheers.